Three, two, one, go, but I'm not ready. I'm sorry, let me move this too. Okay, here we go. It's been a marathon. Anyway, so Thuja, what is its name? Is it Platycladus, which is a really weird name, but I kind of like it though. Apparently, this used to be part of the Thuja genus, but recent taxonomic analysis, meaning like they looked at the DNA instead of just how it looks, showed this to be a monophyletic genus composed of only, yeah, I don't remember. I think only this species, Platycladus orientalis. But there's lots and lots of different cultivars of this golden arbor vitae, whatever. I think arbor vitae maybe refers to all the thujas. So, then the common name doesn't really match the new name and whatever. And most people are going to call this thuja anyway, because people in the trade aren't keeping up to date with modern taxonomy, because whatever, why would they? Anyway, so so now it's Platycladus and not Thuja, but you'll see a lot of information about Thuja, referring even to the Orientalis, the Chinese Thuja, sometimes people call it. Anyway, so it is native to northern China, Manchuria, and Korea, and mostly in cooler climates, although it does get up to zone 24 here. It's this one is short. The species is actually like 15 or 20 feet tall, but it's a really lovely little evergreen shrub. It's like a little globe, I think is what Sunset said. A little green globe in the landscape. Just like a little pom-pom. And that's the typical leaf of the Cupressaceae, that sort of flattened fan shape. What else about it? 3 feet tall, up to 5 apparently. There's the little compact globe. Orianana, yeah, Cupressaceae in the Pinales. In the very hottest parts of its range, it will need some shade, but in cooler areas, it can handle full sun. That would mean here it would definitely need shade. It says moderate to regular water, which actually means it needs a fair amount of water. That included information about its taxonomy right there. Okay, it's kind of nice because that's a probably pretty easy one to recognize. Now here we go to plumbago. Oops, sorry. You say plumbago, I say plumbago. Actually, nobody says plumbago. It's just plumbago. This used to surround a house that I lived in a long time ago. And I will tell you, these flowers, which I think are lovely, but they stick on everything. You walk by and you're covered in flowers. It's kind of a lovely thing, unless you don't like that kind of thing, unless you don't want to be covered in flowers. But it's kind of sprawly, like it's not really a attractive vine, branching. But it fills up a space. It grows like crazy. Ours was like, I swear it was like 10 feet from, I think it had originally many, many years ago been planted against the fence as privacy. But when I lived in that house, it was like 10 or 15 feet out from the fence. And, it was lots of privacy, but, I wasn't such an avid gardener then. And plus I was renting. Like, that's a lot of lost space if you wanted to do anything else with all that room. So keep in mind, it does say, according to Sunset, got to prune the heck out of it. They get really big. Prune them back hard in the winter. And we had a wonderful, wonderful landlord who just didn't believe in maintenance. Nobody ever came to prune that. Anyway, I think it was like $450 a month for my rent. So what am I complaining about? So this is plumbago auriculata. Auriculata is kind of weird because that's like an ear. Don't know why that is. And it's in the Plumbaginaceae, so that's like the plumbago family, and in the Caryophyllales. And those Caryophyllales include things like elderberry and sambucus and carnations. And often, so it's not like a pinwheel flower, but the flower is sort of in a whirl. You can't really see it so much in here, but like a carnation. Anyway, I'm not really articulating that very well. So there we go. Inch wide. I mean, they're barely an inch, but whatever. And apparently, when they're grown from seed, the color range can be quite large. I saw some pink, but I don't know if maybe that's a different species. but they can go from anywhere to white, from white to different colors of blue. But if you wanted a specific shade of blue in your plumbago, then you'd have to buy something that was grown from a cutting, and then there are specific name varieties in different colors. Sprawling, I added the word sprawling in there because it really does, it ends up, it's spreading a lot, but there's like long stems that kind of like reach out and bend a little bit. And then it ends up like the inner growth will die and just be like, not sharp, but you know, like you wouldn't, I guess it's probably good for theft prevention or whatever. Like nobody's going to crash through your plumbago hedge because you can't. You just get poked, and it's really full of dead branches on the inside, which is great for wildlife. Like if you want awesome habitat for possums and raccoons, this is perfect. I love that it says a mounding shrub. Like, okay. I swear I did not actually add that in because I was confused about the nice little globe. It says that in there, so I added that it sprawls as it grows. So maybe it starts out as a mounding shrub. Sunset knows more than I do about plants. Who am I to argue? Good cover for a fence or wall. It says a good background or filler plant. Like if you have a space, you just need to fill it up, I guess. Or like a background plant, like, you know, against a wall, really. You know, something like that, or just, you know, it's going to grow pretty fast. And it's, you know, it's attractive. It has these lovely little flowers that get on everything. Full sun or late shade. Low to regular water, which is cool. It doesn't take a lot of water. It has to have good drainage. And here it's perfectly happy. I mean, it truly like just grows like a weed. But in colder climates, you'd want to plant them, you know, right after the end of your frost date, so it can get established before the winter, because it can damage the young plants, but as they mature, they're fine. So 6 feet tall, 8 to 10 feet wide or more. And then this was also kind of like, huh? A vine. I can't even imagine that growing as a vine or training it as a vine. Like it's a pretty substantial bush, but it says that, so I included it. It's native to South Africa. Another nice example of biogeographical profiling. Areas in South Africa have very similar climates like we do. Indeed, whether the flowers are nice or not is all a matter of opinion. Here we go. So I was trying to get a picture of the leaves, and I couldn't tell if they were opposite or alternate. I don't remember well enough. It looks like there's a little bit of a little wrapping tissue around where the leaf attaches. Anyway, well, there's some leaves for you there. That was about as close up as I could get of the leaves, but you know, well, here's more. Anyway, so you know, it really is just a big tall shrub, and with flowers almost all year round, which is kind of nice. Yeah, so what you can't see in here is like, I don't know what it is that's so sticky on there. It might be part of the sepals or something at the bottom of the floral tube, but in a close-up picture, but not this one. There were a bunch more pictures. I didn't include them though, but they're super duper sticky. Like, I don't know what it is that they have on there, but it's a good adhesive. Looks pretty in your hair though. Okay, that's it for now, I think. Oh, shoot. Sorry. Here we go. And the last one is a whole taxonomic cluster scramble. So it used to be called Podocarpus elongatus or gracilior, depending on whether it's grown from seed or cutting, which, like, botanists usually don't do stuff like that. I mean, who would give it two different names? Like, that doesn't make any sense. But I guess if it's grown from a seed, it grows straight and upright. And they called that the gracilior species. But if you grow it from a cutting, it gets more airy and branching, and that one they called the elongatus species, which is completely confusing. And then they went and studied the DNA, and now they're like, oh, just kidding, this isn't Podocarpus, this is in its own whole new genus called Afrocarpus, which is kind of interesting because a lot of the Podocarpuses are from Asia, and this one is from Eastern Africa, so I guess Afrocarpus makes sense there. I think I also said, because yeah, I think probably the name change too makes it hard for photos to match labels when I'm searching. So I had to go beyond Community Commons. This was Community Commons. I think this is a picture of Sherman Gardens. And go to the regular Google, even Pinterest. Anyway, to see those really blue leaves. So this is a cultivar called Icy Blue. common name, icy blue fern pine. Afrocarpus gracilior is now, at least as most recently that I'm able to find, its Latin name, and it's in the Podocarpaceae and the Pinale. So what's really, to me, botanically speaking, so fascinating about these plants is like, I have not this variety, but I have podocarpuses growing all around my yard here. When we moved in, they were there. And they're a fine screen, in some places much more dense than in others. They're kind of sparse, probably because they don't have enough sun under the oak tree. But I had no idea that this was a pine. So I think I put on the list up here, I always have that tab open, that it was from Gondwana land, and certainly this cultivar wasn't around then. And it actually says this cultivar is from Africa. But Podocarpus is a very, very old group of plants. And that would, I mean, if you're into that kind of thing, super fascinating to study. So this is not the icy blue variety, but it shows the leaves pretty well. I mean, this is not like a pine needle, but although you can imagine, right? Like, you know, it's kind of imagine that if you took a pine branch, like the thuja that we just looked at, and made the little individual scales much longer, that kind of, you see that? Or am I just like being crazy here? And then this again, it's not the right cultivar, but it's the right genus. And there's a little fruit. So we don't really call it a fruit since it's not an angiosperm, but I don't know how else you would describe this because it sure is not a cone. But it's an interesting reproductive propagule for the Pinalis. And there are some really pretty ones, like I want that hot tub and a pool. And anyway, distracted by the backyard hardscaping there. Really cool, very, very bluish leaves. So if you're looking for blue leaves, it's a good one. And it says regular water. I mean, it's doing okay in our yard. I think it gets more water than I wish, but not super often. Striking foliage, shrubby upright growth, and then this is, you know, it used to be, people all probably lumped them all together, very similar in foliage to the yew trees, but they are longer, the leaves more broad and lighter colored, even not just the icy blue, but all of the Podocarpus, Afrocarpus are. What is a highlight, according to Sunset, is that it is super clean. Like, you don't have to trim it very often, which is true about ours. They don't get trimmed very often. They don't drop leaves. So they're very clean. They're very easy to maintain. They're kind of a plant it and forget it thing, which is great. And they said it makes a good tree. I suppose you could train it as a tree. Ours are definitely a shrub. But they're, you know, good shrub for hiding things, hiding the fence, hiding the neighbors, things like that. So there you go. 25 feet tall and wide. Ours are definitely not 25 feet tall and wide. They may be like, I don't know, maybe 15 feet tall or something. We'll double check that, but I think that is what it said. So I will update that information when I feel more confident about it, and I will post this to the, whatever it is that, the canvas, the module. Yeah. And then I'm done with this for the week. Now I can get on to grading. Oh joy. Okay.